That's a great dance groove. And you see in the shorts, it's an elevator, and a guy gets on a big Pakistani or Indian dude. I think maybe just Indian, but he's kind of big, like just tall, like wrestler big, and he has a wig on, the woman's hair, and there's this other woman, and this is staged, and somebody gets on the elevator and they don't know it, but he walks in and he's got a little radio, little boom box, and he walks in and he looks at the girl and he says dance and starts playing just cool little music, and the girl, she knows ahead of the game, she starts dancing too. And he's a big wrestler size dude, so he's standing there with this boom box. The girl next to him, she starts dancing. And then another person who's an actor walks on, and he's standing in front of him, and he's like, dance. And the dude says, no dance. And he shoves his head into the side of the elevator. No dance, no dance. Now, the innocent bystander who has no idea, they're standing there. Some of them start dancing. Some of them look like they're going to pass out. But but the guy, he just looks at them. You dance? And they start dancing. It's hilarious. I must have scrolled and watched that while I wasn't scrolling. I try not to scroll. Hi, Uncle Skin. I try not to scroll, but I do. It's late for me, isn't it? I'm infused though, because I'm a sky watcher. It never fails. 10 years of watching the sky. And every now and then it gets kind of boring and feels redundant and repetitive. And it's certainly suppressed. But being a true sky watcher, one tends to have these epiphanies from time to time. You're a sky watcher. The suppression is the name of the game. They're hiding the sky. Don't take yourself so serious, little whiny brat man. Oh, I haven't been whining. I've just been working. You all, I'm beyond whining. I'm beyond whining. I'm telling you, if any of y'all have straight up been handed the whooping of your life, let me assure you of one thing that somebody reminded me this morning. Somebody that I wouldn't have expected it from. Somebody told me, if the enemy isn't messing with you right now, then there's something that you're not doing. And I've gotten to the point where it's not my job to say whether doing right or wrong. So take heart. Be of good cheer, my brothers and sisters. Yeah, I was bummed out yesterday, but we start work early, 7:30, so we get off at 3:30. I'm wrapping everything up. I'm worried about to have enough money to make it till Friday. The ins and outs of my num nums, because I'll admit it, I spend my mocha num num drinks. They're not cheap. That's a vice, full of delicious, being 300 milligrams of mocha loveliness. I can't help it. My num nums, my other nums, these ain't cheap. Dare not get them at the gas station. I'm all about being honest. I'm telling you. Some smokes, sody pops, steak. I can't help it. I've had enough chicken and pork. to last a lifetime. Because I eat like a bird these days. I really do eat like a bird. Y'all remember my feathers? A part of this video is just going to be on the other voice or other voices. Discouragement. The drip, the slow water drip torture of the reminders of the. Do you know that all those voices come from the most scared, bummed out, anxious, late, a dollar short, a day late? I used to be kind of, had something to do with music. Yeah, the other day, I mean, um, it's not a stomach illness. You're not imagining things. Don't look around like nobody in the world. There's something to say. You're not good enough. You use your own voice against. You made a mistake, just like trolls with me. The supreme troll of trolls, the liar, the deceiver. Just use your own voice against you. Your own resume. I mean, you made music. And this is how I am now. Voices. I'm. It's way on captive every thought. This is some ninja necessity mode. I just thought, who you try to talk to me about some mega big music? You was the lead singer in heaven and got kicked out. So I've adopted this very interesting comedic relief with depression or anxiety. And I don't know if you're a sky watcher and if you're nitty, if your senses are up. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and say it because potentially we are the descendants of the people of the Younger Dryas system or Younger Dryas period / change in the world, and bloodlines are in people who do watch the sky and do save a beetle from getting smushed by a bicycle tire and so forth and so on. There's a big advantage to not listening to anyone. Mike Walker. Well, sometimes just get on down the line, get it done, pick it up, put it down, move it, draw it, but don't dwell on it. Oh, I am the only one. I am the one. Humanity I recognize it now. I mean, humanity is completely under duress, completely under attack. Most of humanity, the mind, invasive thinking, invasive thoughts, subliminal mind control, MK Ultra, too much TV. I don't care what you might want to call it. I myself am a victim of it. I'm a survivor because I'm starting to recognize. Hold on, I can't just go around thinking, "Wow, gas has gone up, bummed out. Do I have a?" I can't go around entertaining the terrible thoughts. I mean, okay, I might have to think. Okay, I need to, the logistics of the day. That's one thing. But sitting there like, oh man, if I wasn't a dumbass and I was a banker, like I could have been. What? I'm the best at what I am right here, right now. And I don't need examples of people who have it less or doing dumber or I don't need to compare myself. I can just be floating exactly where I am, which is all right. That's spelled for very, very educated people or conservative. I is African American thing for it will be well, all will be well. And it's spelled A-I-G-H-T-I. Begrudgingly. Hey, look at me. You can tell I'm OCD as hell. I'm coffee, nums. It's late, but I know I'm not going to be able to go to sleep right now. Look, there ain't nobody here. And I can take a twisted, perverse joy in that. It's not masochism, folks. It's just recognizing that I am the spoon now. And I have a spoon for num nums and stirring my coffee. I keep it simple these days. Sorry, I'm a little on cloud nine. I just cleaned my room. But I do. I mean, there's nothing better that shuts, stinking thinking up than starting to make fun of yourself with it, or tell it, hey, I'll put on a costume, but like not women's clothes or dresses or anything else. How many men in Hollywood have done that? It's really kind of spooky, actually. Uh, and 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 yeah, I use the sword of the spirit. Like, I'll think about, kind of what is the red thread of destiny, which I've spoken of for years. And again, I can get bored or complacent or um, get into my feelings, but I'm always drawn back to the sky, and it's directly above. It can't be taken away. It can just be manipulated. It can be trashed back and forth. But this is going to be a year of some really interesting things to start happening, and it's kind of like a bubbling spring, or or a little volcanic eruption. It might start small. It might be a small leak in a dam. You can plug it a little bit, but the pressure is still there. The pressure's on the sky. I mean, I've been back here for a couple of months now, for 4 steady months. Of course, I watch the sky every day. I can't help it. I videotape anomalies, but they handle it pretty well. There was one amazing morning 2 Mondays ago, and then I'm pretty sure, this Sunday was, or it was last Friday, or this month. Somebody does not, and it's pouring outside right now, and it's been freezing for days. And that's okay. It's late April. It's early May. The shifts in temperature now aren't that abnormal, but hi Lily, hi JP, Mike. There's a big advantage. Yeah, listening to smart people, there's an advantage to that. Most other people don't really need listening to. You're right. And I am not doing that badly, Lily, to be honest with you. And I'm doing better than the majority of the people in the world right now, to be honest with you. If you're American, you got change rattling around, bottle of water just kind of just hanging out, and no, I'm blessed. I got the Nibi movie fixed. It's on party, bright red, and I got to see the dance videos from India, where just him and the girl and one of the people, they're doing a prank on an elevator. So just a normal person is in there. They'll walk in and just turn on the little boom box and start dancing. And the dude's, about 6'4". It's pretty tall. He has a wig on. And he just looks at the girl and says, dance. So she starts dancing. She doesn't look freaky or anything. She just starts grooving. And he's dancing. And then another actor walks in, turns around just to get ready to get back out of the elevator once they reach the floor. But all of a sudden he hears, dance. And he goes, no dance. So the dude slams him against the wall. Of course, they've been acting it out. So then the person who's really innocently on the elevator with no clue, the dude looks at them and goes, you dance? And they just start grooving because they don't know big gorilla, 6'5" tall dude is with the boom box. No, I've got some good notes tonight. A big part of what is happening right now, folks, is, and I know it's not just people like us, but I will differentiate why. I think a lot of us are really. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I really had no idea deeply what the Younger Dryas was until I didn't research it. It researched me. I don't astral project. Something puts me under a microscope, and I certainly the Younger Dryas was. I feel you for years. I've been saying seven, Younger Dryas, and I've been like, I know it sounds cool, and it has to do with glaciers and ice age, and I don't like cold. Now I know what it is. Yeah, yeah. I have to prepare now to go live. I've reached this point where I want to be so much more. I mean, I could just sit here and cry and do a confessional and bare my heart and soul. And you know what I'm. Don't say you don't know what I'm talking about. These bursts of all of a sudden feeling so contrite and in need of redemption and prayer. It's spooky. What did Einstein call quantum physics? Spooky things seen from a distance. There's so much going on in the world right now. I mean, I learned about the fact that there's potentially this private, like super secret, actual internet. Normal people don't. It's not your bank account and your Macy's credit card and going online shopping for clothes. It's like real high up. And I'm just talking about communications meant for this super important time, right? Where we're all being watched and recorded and listened by everything. But there are certain people who are above that. They have, of course, what's called immunity. Immunity. And Mel Gibson, bless his heart, we all got the Danny Glover in what was that movie called? What was that? What the movie with the mullet when Mel Gibson had a mullet? Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I think it was the second one when Mel had real tight jeans, way too tight jeans, super '80s leather jacket, and then the mullet with the puffy head. Yeah, that's so funny because him and Sigourney Weaver and all them '80s chicks all rock the same hairdo all at the same time. Joan Jett, all of them. I'm messing with you. Some of you'd be like, "Oh, I have every album." And there's also talk of upping the 5G, to something. I mean, I'm afraid to even say it. Levels of G, whatever it even means, because I don't care. Eat kiwi with skin, pre or post. Nibiru smashes into the world and kills every living kiwi. No, not with no. My little AI Q&A friend, no. But I have before just to try it. I little this Well, fifth will in your tongue. No. Ouch. It depends. So spooky, so spooky, new, amped up, super forms of telecommunications, digital, 5G, and maybe amping it up. But I'll stop there because I've heard from plenty of credible people that are boots on the ground, that there's already a 6 or a 7G already. Cincinnati has one of the strongest 5G signals in the country, if not in the world. 10G now. That is so bad for people. So we're told in terms of radiation. Teravolts, I believe they're called, of radioactive energy just blasting through Cincinnati, because Procter and Gamble, I mean, talk about a red thumbtack on a map in terms of targets. GE, Procter and Gamble, Cincinnati Zoo, Children's Hospital, University. I mean, Cincinnati University, Xavier University, but GE, Procter and Gamble, they need super strong 5G, and it's so bad for people. Hi, Dragon Sage. Hi, Marlo. Yeah. No, it's incredible. I don't know why I've got so much energy. Well, I know I do. Because the house is pretty much cleansed of kind of ruffian thug, emotionally shelled people, and it's clean. I mean, like there are days now where people's heads just feel like we do got this, and it's in my notes. It is, and it has to do with the younger Dryas. I, I've always been very leery of the younger Dryas uh, theory. Um, I definitely have. I really have, because in my mind, that at times I can sound blah blah blah. But that's not really me when you get down deeply to who I am. I'm just a sky watcher. The sky looks different, and the weather acts different, you know. But I don't get necessarily carried away, and definitely not with the clickbait. Critical alert: James Webb discovers unimaginable. I mean, what? There's just so much of that now. Bye. However, so many people, myself included, will end up finding myself days into, mind you, a few days into wondering, why am I so tired? And why is there a certain set of things that seem to be off? And then notice 2 or 3 days into it, or maybe 2 or 3 hours, I'm exaggerating a bit, but after a certain prolonged amount of time, we'll recognize my ears are ringing atrociously. There's a deep pressure in my head. Um, um, there might not be extremes of anything going on around you. Notice I'm not going to pull in some thunder clouds came and swirled around you. Though I do like to use sound effects and stuff because I'm the cat. And if you're a sky watcher and spend any time outside, at especially sunrise and sunset, you're apt to find some rather strange, phenomenal things beginning around you, like a rainbow opening up in the grass in front of you, even though rainbows are always supposed to be behind the horizon if you're seeing a rainbow. Seeing rainbows early in the morning, 10 minutes before sunrise, though the sky is light. And that's just to name a few of the things that they are hiding. Oh, we do got this. Dragon. I'm gonna write your name down and write down we got this. Studying, taking a deeper look at the Younger Dryas. Such a missing piece because there is a buried or submerged world that we all traipsy around on top of. The powers that be do their best to bury it and hide it. They've been doing that for at least 100 years now. That's a big part of what the two great global conflicts were about. I could do a whole 4-hour video. One of the things that's most saddeningly interesting to me about those two conflicts is the lead up, especially during World War II, though this has been happening for centuries, if not for a millennia. But what was armored and mechanized during the lead up to World War II, especially during the Russian Revolution, but this also happened in the countryside in England for 1,000 years, France, Germany. It happened in China. It happened, but in particularly, especially the Western world and Eastern Europe. I'm just giving you a specific time. You can go look this up. I'm giving you a specific time during the Russian Revolution and then afterwards. Russian troops were sent out into the countryside to accost who was the people group called the bourgeoisie and herdsmen, people that had lived for generations in the steppes and way out just in the open, minding themselves. And they they took all their possessions, all of them, including heirlooms. You have to understand that even small, little, tiny heirlooms from the ancient world, little bits of jewelry or little carved rocks, things that may have been signs of the ancient world, all the way up to the book burnings that have occurred all over the world, most notably for me in in Europe during World War II. And I don't need to use, you know who was burning books, but two great conflicts to destroy ancient churches, architecture, buildings, canals, bridges, family histories, genealogies, bloodlines. Look at the Albigensian Crusades against the Cathars, too. Albigensian. Alba. You know I will, too. You know I totally will. I get immersed in this kind of stuff. Just combat. The best way to move the future is to let go of the past. I like you already. Thank goodness I have notes. No, I love that comment. And in reference to voices that try to come on people, and I don't care if you're an accountant or a consultant or a doctor or a pilot or a garbage man, we all have, and some people, it might be more extreme than others, but the tendency of the other voice, the other side, the other, suggestion to be a nagging, sort of depressing hanger on all day. Especially for people who can visualize real well or who can almost bring audio element to, and find yourself putting yourself down or not encouraging yourself. I'm playing a game now. I'm playing a game because I can sense the external, sometimes the external influence of something suggesting that at 8:15 in the morning, instead of getting busy and being grateful for anything in front of me, I'm going to start considering something that happened 30 years ago. And it's always a brand new thought. Somebody wrote my pencil in school, type, really? And I ask the question, think about this. How many of you, you minding your own business, having a perfectly fine day, and then you got me stuck, all of a sudden you will remember something that happened when you were 4 that you've never remembered in your life, that hurt your feelings, that got you twisted at 6:15 as you're pulling out to head to work with a cup of coffee, lunch, made yourself up that day, you look good, feeling great, everything's fine, and all of a sudden, now if that's a bit of an infantile example, there are plenty more. You remember something that happened college age, somebody stepped on your brand new pair of shoes, or something, first time that you've remembered it ever. Where was that stored? Why is it important, physiologically speaking? Survival skill mode, fight or flight, productive, married, single. Tell me where in the blueprints and in the programming and wiring it ever was dictated by the amazing, obvious sort of selection, that makes us human. No, I realize no. And I can't blame that necessarily on 5G or 6G, though I do think that it may be playing a role. I don't know if I'm going to blame it on Satan or Diablo or Jinn. I'll figure that shit out later. All I know is I have to put a stop to it, let's just say, in a Buddhist kind of way. And really mean it. And there's no other better way than with humor. Or dance. When's the time you just shook that ass? When? Or just started singing at the top of your lungs? When? But I will ask again, because I thought about it. What supercomputer can always reference something very conveniently? And why, if it is something that's on your plate, that's always been, we all got things that are eaten on lunch that will for the rest of our lives. But really, is it necessary? Is it going to help survival? Is it going to help the day? Is it going to help me clean my room? Is it going to help me floss? Is it going to help me become a dragonfly? Because I can. I might. I will. Or I might go pick some sage as soon as I can find some once it's warm enough. And burn it. And then let it be good enough. Let that be good enough. Let it sink in. Be good enough. Because it should be good. It easily could be not good at all. Enough. I started talking about gratitude. Yesterday I'm finishing up the day. Had a great day. I started thinking with my stomach. So I'm trying to shuffle my num-nums because I just have this thing now, fruit. Gotta have some fruit. And I can't just have an apple. I gotta have an apple, a bite of apple with a bite of banana, with a bite of a cutie. I don't know why. It's just, the shit tastes better that way. It's like candy. Take all that, rush it out to my car. You got to dress for 4 layers of weather now, which is some straight up bullshit. Can you say bullshit with me? Just straight up, it's freezing in the mornings. And it'll be freezing all day until that sun comes out. And then it's fucking 40 degrees hot. I don't care. I'll joke about that. Talk about it, and it's in my notes. I'll reference it and talk shit. Look at the, yeah, I will. The best way to, move the future is let go of the past. And a good way to do that is to come up just with a way to recognize. And don't perp anybody, please, because I'm not going to perp. What's one of the greatest ways thinking, or invasive thought? It's called talking shit in your head, usually about friends or family or past loved ones or lovers or or somebody who messed with your money or it's usually people closest to you. Hi, my name Ernie. Hi, Ernie. I don't care. I'm just being honest about me, and it didn't me. Jump on a big ass forklift, fired up. I've already checked all the fluids. Get going. All of a sudden, I think about something in my family, and I notice, or a tempting thought about the person I like least in the world, who's been in this house or something, because there's a proximity. See what I'm saying? How can I ever allow myself to to engage? Because it's really difficult. You've got a hundredth of a second for that thought to pop in nowhere as you're at the grocery store getting you some coffee in the morning, like, get some coffee. All of a sudden, you're thinking something shitty about your neighbor. Where does that come from? And it's my video, so I get to say what I want, and you have to believe me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just, look, don't get me wrong. We all walk around, some people wear their hearts on their sleeves. Other people, carry their regret and shame and guilt with them. Uh, but nobody forgets. That's not what I'm talking about. The reminder of your schedule and how you suck at being on time, so leave 5 minutes early, dumbass. That's different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that shit that rips your jugular out. you know, um, and it snatched me up as much as it might snatch anybody else up. Maybe me a bit more because I'm in the process of regrowth and recovery and making it, you know, an amends to the world. I can be hell on wheels. I realize that. I'm a destructive force, unguided, you know, alone and isolated in certain circumstances. I'm a man. Man raise hell. We do. It's a tornado, an earthquake, and a tsunami, all heading towards a hard headed man. If he's sufficiently hard headed enough, the tsunami, the earthquake, and the tornado will all turn and run because that man will come fuck their day up too. Give him half a chance. I recognize that in myself these days. So I shift. I shift gears real quick. I recognize, holy shit, it's 8 o'clock and it's 7. I just got here and I'm getting my donuts, seeing where my oranges are. All of a sudden, I'm going to have a shitty thought about the mailman. Reported Joe Black. Reported. Who? Ooh. Nobody get rid of this person yet. I love report. You reported? You handed in your report card? To who? You're all you're awesome. What, to your kindergarten teacher? Reported. I reported. That's funny shit right there. I reported this man's channel. Why, good sir? Because he's just too grown up for me. He is too grown up. No, I recognize that. I thought today that's gonna make for a good video later on today, Zeb. Cause my mind is my own. My imagination, my focus. And I don't have to dwell in the thought or the focus of it or the um, the root of it, if it's not a good godly thought, if it's not nourishing, then I'm done with it. And if I have to shoot it down, and if I have to pray, then so be it. But I'm just saying that for me, taking the holier than thou way sometimes don't work. I actually get to the root of what the lie or the insult or the bad vibe towards a person. I start to look at the root of it. Like, hold on, that was about immorality, or that was about vulgarity, or that was about how good or bad a person achieved or doesn't achieve. That one's about money. Hold on, I call myself a person who's not attached to the materialistic, but that shit's about money, right? That's about sex. Oh wow, that's about how grown up somebody is. Look at me. I don't even make my bed. The fuck grown up. And I start making fun of those shitty thoughts like that. And I do look at the root sometimes. I will fuck around and do some investigative work on, wow, that invasive thought, it had a particular thing about this family member. And I'll pray about something that might have to do with that. Like, just like demons, multiple demons can inhabit one person, then why am I going to let my mind become the breeding ground for anything negative about another person when I'm not even the one who's planting that seed in the first place? I'm just having my 8 o'clock cup of coffee. Nobody sits around thinking, I think I'll start thinking negative thoughts. That's what I aspire to today. None of us do. And yet, how many people find themselves, myself primarily, I'm talking about me, shackled by just 3 or 4 good things on the top list? I make car payments. Only dumbasses get caught up in 5 years of car payments. I'm 2.5 years into it. Only dumbasses. The world doesn't like people with bad scores. $8,000 in medical bills from driving around for years on end, not knowing, So what? Huh. Hi, Trode. One not doing one uncle. Hi, not uncle. Yeah. So there, I've spoken on that enough. Because it ain't like nobody needed to hear that. It ain't like all of you are like, oh my God, he's giving psychological advice now. Okay. Not at all. And that ties into being an empath or being victimized your whole life. Some of you, at least one of you, used to be a bully and mean as a fucking rattlesnake, but you're turning your ways around because my buddy said, Seven, I don't believe any of this stuff. This Nimbus stuff. I'm like, it's NIBIRU, whatever, man. But he called me today, and I told him, I said, you know that scientists are going missing, or I know. Every couple of months he'll call me and say, dude, I always tell you you're full of shit about this stuff, but the news just keeps pointing to. I'm like, I know. Call me when you get back in town. I will. You're not so out there anymore for yourselves, are you, folks? Can't keep up with the news right now. You remind me of a friend. Got to be aware of the negativity out here. He always says, "You're not gonna get me out of my hookup." Well, that is the key. I think I'm perfect. I'm gonna have an occasional occasional, burst of fear, or is that machine, is the brake on or not, or is it going to crush something? You, you know, um, a little bit of predetermining, where you need to move in traffic and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But to sit around and just, as a 53-year-old man with so much to be grateful for, to just trundle through, when somebody beat me at pencil war when I was 10. No. You get what I'm saying? Because I do suffer from a constant barrage of, in a way, as so many people do, post 2020. As weird as things are getting, it's easy to get caught up in. And where is most of that thinking? It is not in the present moment, that's for sure, boy. It's 25 years ago, or or it's funny. It's always a couple of months out, isn't it? It's always vacation. It's going to fall out of the sky, whatever. But not the present moment. Or if it is, it's until the next moment. Until the next moment. No. It just takes a little bit of practice. Morning meditations are key to set up for success in the inner landscape for the day. Yeah. The aim on for a second, the Atlantic. I mean, I've taken it in my notes a million times, but the engine that fuels the Atlantic and all the oceans of the world, transferring heat from the Bahamas and the Caribbean in the Gulf of Mexico, all the way up the East Coast, and then over to, to end up eventually warming England and places like that. The fish, and I mean, it's the bloodstream of the earth through its water. And it's experiencing tremendous duress. Mainly, you can break down 3 hours of information, but mainly it's because of the ice melt from Greenland. Antarctica, yes, but mostly Greenland, they're saying. Just fresh water. Unimaginable amounts of fresh water. Wreaking havoc in the ocean. Cold, fresh water. And I don't want to go too long because I know I need to get some sleep. Okay, I've got an hour. Because I've been around watching this long enough to know that in Florida, there are places where there used to be businesses and little shops that now are closed up because the ocean has come in. Oh, thank you. One nod uncle. Yeah, thanks. That means a lot. Now, there are coastlines all over the world where the ocean has come in now and continues to every year. And the heat that's coming. I didn't put it in the title of the video because I can't stand clickbait, especially when somebody don't mean something. But I thought, I literally consider now how I'm very 50-50 about having moved back home. I found a great job. I love it. I belong. I've got lots of friends. My family is here. But I'm not doing so well. Thank you very much. Anybody else here, you're happy to, welcome to raise your hand. I'm not doing so well with what I call the fake sunlight. I'm just not. And I like being outspoken and honest about it. It is not the sun that I grew up with. Is it a simulator? It's kind of hard not to, to consider that fucking possibility, considering that they have patents for sun simulators. I can't help, again, but being very outspoken in that I do believe after this long I've got a little wee bit of credibility. Wee bit of credibility, would you say? A little bit, because of my instincts. Um, it just it just hasn't been right for years. I need to hear good messages. Too much time spent on empty entertainment and time wasting. Well, I thought that a lot of people might be a little interested. I thought that not a few people would take interest in very much being able to be honest and transparent and just say, yeah, I do hear a whole lot of just kind of the chihuahua nipping at my heels, suggestions, the voice of my therapist, or my mama, or my girlfriend, or my wife, or me when I was younger. Could have been better. I should have done better. I shouldn't have broke my leg at track. Whatever. The multiverse of revisited letdown when it really is not necessarily us deciding on our third cup of coffee in the morning as we're getting busy, all of a sudden, not, the gratitude doesn't work. Food that you just ate, nothing seems to sate a thirst that all of a sudden has you feeling like you're in a desert and haven't had water in days, and you see a mirage of water and you're scooping sand up in your mouth and you realize it's dirt. That's what the past, as someone someone mentioned. Who was it who mentioned? I believe it might have been Uncle. Morning meditations. You remind me, who was it who said it? Just combat. I like you all. And when it comes to three people being here, or, you know, 4 dozen, it doesn't make any difference. Because, uh, a condition right now that is of great concern to the media and the medical field and families and churches alike, to the whole community, is that people are feeling isolated and alone. Or, on the other end of that pendulum, super unique, special, alone. Little voice tried to tell me that you're kind of, dark empath line, or you've been hearing about a lot. I thought, no. I mean, no. Just tell the truth. At first, I was almost crushed. I was like, ugh, 53, lonely man. And then I thought, hold on. You can kiss my ass in Jesus' name, jinn, demon, devil, whatever the fuck you want to call you. I got over 7,000 of them. And some of these people have scooped into the dirt of where I was and what I was doing, and sadness, and fucking acting a fool, or crying, drinking. Shit. A lot of you had to have cared for me. And see, I was going to say some more sort of vulgar. Some of you had to kick me in the ass, and no. Something's telling me to tell the true story. Many of you have spoken with me. Many of you have, time and again, helped lift me up, sent me money, fed me, helped me get hotel rooms when I was 3,000 miles away from home. Now, you all have sent me cards, clothes, books, crystals, art. I mean, it's something when you get 3 pieces of art in the mail. They are interchangeable. They go up on the wall, but you just get them in the mail one day. Like, what the? I mean, who does that? Who does that? What? What other shit? I mean, thousands of people, many of whom come back to see my crazy ass. That's a friend. That's a community. That's a family. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. use my wrong way? Who said I even have a right way? I'm kidding. So back to the Younger Dryas. Because I have, this is the Younger Dryas. So, per Hancock and certain other people, the Younger Dryas, there's a global civilization. There's Atlantis. There's evidence right now of just megalithic structures all over the world, many of which are underwater now, um, which is indicative of a melt of especially the North American ice sheet that existed, 2 miles of ice. And I guess what they're saying is a comet or an asteroid that broke up coming into the atmosphere and just showered the earth with hot debris, and it hit the ice shelf of the North American continent and melted all of that ice and inundated the world with 400 feet extra of water in a rapid time. That lines up with the biblical flood. It just does. It lines up with all the megalithic structures that are now submerged, and it raises a lot of questions. It really does. Was it necessarily caused by a comet or a meteor? That's not really what I'm focusing on. What I'm focusing on is that the evidence is there's just an outstanding amount of evidence, physical evidence, that there was some kind of a global organized system of construction of massive temples, massive pyramidal structures, so forth and so on, that was wiped out in a cataclysm. I'm going to stop right there because the purpose of tonight was a little bit more on just how everybody's feeling side in the simplest of ways. You're sky watchers. If you're watching me, then number one, you don't find it difficult to listen to me prattle on for a while because you feel the same way that I do every day that I wake up and every moment that I'm observing the visible world around me. I notice that the light is off. Energy, so forth and so on. I go outside, I might witness huge, giant red streaks across the sky 15 minutes before sunrise with a massive rainbow in the west before the sun has come up. The phenomena continue. UAPs are all over the place. I see them on a regular basis, not every night. Damn near all the pyramids and megalithic structures sit on ley line intersections. I know that is not coincidence, and it does boggle the mind. That's another part number two of being a sky watcher, or what I call us frontliners. And I believe that it's indicative. Just saying, I have a theory of people who carry the genes for have existed 1,000 years ago. We're throwbacks. Most of us, given a chance, with a little bit of help, depending on your woodsmanship and woodcraft and fishing and hunting skills, most of us would not hesitate to leave the cities, leave technology, take the fishing pole, the hunting string, however you do it, snares and traps, an axe and a hatchet. I mean, I'm not talking about just Survivor on the TV show, butt naked with nothing but a knife. I'm not talking about that. But I mean, most of us with a little planning and half a chance would not hesitate to become one with nature, be in the forest or the jungle or the desert. You know, many of us dream of landscapes like that and have never even been there before. Why? You know, it's our forest child, is what it is. It's our spirit animal, it's what it is. And I didn't even really delve too deeply into taking notes on the happy choice de drinko, fam. Happy, oh, cinco de drinko. Oh, yeah, you told it on back there. It, it's, oh, Reezy. Roger, what's up? You know, I do. I really do consider us throwbacks in many ways, and it doesn't mean that you spent your whole life like I. I mean, I've spent my entire adult life landscaping. Just fell in love with it. Fell in love with the dirt. You know, planting things, the challenge, yeah, the landscape and the you know the decor of it, all of that, making things grow. Don't can't nothing get a bigger kick out of me than planting a fucking Jap maple. Shoo! Hopefully no taller than 6 feet because they get heavy. The balls on those get really heavy. It might not be the tallest Jap maple, but they got big old. Well, that's because they're expensive, and they got to make sure to cut a big ball on it. But nah, I do shit. Give me an acre on the woods with some chickens and a lean-to. I'm just saying. Why is that? Why is it that we have more of an affinity, and that the timeline has led us, might I add, to just being people who, society. I could just leave society. I can just kind of leave it now. I can do without it. Yeah. No. Back to the fishing pole, 4-wheel drive, buddy, mud flaps, and on down the line. You pick the place. I'll start digging. Yeah, fuck it. You know why? Um, um, and don't get me wrong. Again, transparency. I have fun with it these days. I do. It's not like I don't enjoy the accoutrements of modern technology. You know, this house that I live in is nicer than anything I've ever lived in my life. You know, it's nice having an ice machine on the fridge. I mean, it don't work. But you know what I'm saying? You know, I love a vacuum. Nothing like carpeted floors. You know, the internet, having my phone to watch my nature predation, and I just love watching lions. But but you know, I've done it a couple times over the last year, especially. I've been in positions where it's like, you need my phone for how long? A month? Okay, here, take it. And boy, for 2 days, I'm actually still scrolling as I close my eyes. I think I'm literally still watching YouTube. I'm pretty sure I am. But once it's gone, I don't I don't find myself needing it. I used to play video games in the off season, right? In the off season. I mean, pretty much, you know. I don't know if I could have thought about living without my little Tomb Raider there, little PS4, whatever it was. Yeah, no, I don't think I could ever play video games again. I just don't. But boy, if it came, to really unplugging, oh, I don't. I think it'd take me a day. Get used to it, get on out there. I never smoke or look at fun in my dreams. You never smoke or look at your phone in your dreams. That's very interesting because I don't see my phone. Well, until that one time when I did not have my phone, and then it was just, yeah, it was just muscle memory and knowing I didn't have it, and my mind just flushed out. I have walked the gauntlet, folks, over the last couple of years, and these last 4 months have been no exception. I've walked through the fire, and it has made me tougher than shit. I have to remember that I care these days. I'm very close to just not, just losing a certain part of what's called being nice, being a gentleman, being kind and sweet. You know, I do. I think that the Younger Dryas hides, and many of you might agree if you look up the Younger Dryas and study it for yourself. Again, I don't know exactly how it happened, but it just does look like it's pretty obvious that not too long ago, 12,000 something years, 13,000, that our entire true beginnings and origins and stories and history, lineage and genealogies all got wiped, all got everything but wiped out, as scripture says, and as the stories and the legends worldwide all say that matches up. That's just mind boggling because now we're in a part in history where something seems to be interested in us and we're being torn between the ancient hidden past and the prospect of dimensional, ultra terrestrial, futuristic beings that might be us knocking on our proverbial door as we speak right now, revealing themselves more and more, potentially, at least their ships, in terms of getting closer, staying still, hovering, performing certain acrobatic moves. You know what I mean? Putting on a show, really getting our attention, but just a tease, just a fucking tease. And nobody likes a tease. Ain't nobody got time for a tease. It's 2026. And we're gonna keep getting teased by the TV and the government, and I don't mind. What's his name? The congressman Tim Burchett. He said, "Don't hold your fucking breath, people. Don't hold your breath about that or the list." I like that sort of pragmatic thinking and talk, folks. I really do. The realism of that man. Hold on a second. Give me the bathroom real quick. He's realistic. He would like to be optimistic. But he knows better than to get our hopes up. I'm back. I mean, the Younger Dryas. So something, so it's an ice age, and then something happens to the world where just an unimaginable amount of ice is melted relatively quickly, inundates the world, the landscape changes, empires and entire civilizations probably were flooded, swept away in an instant, as the story from Plato, I believe, goes about Atlantis, that in one night and one day and one night, that an entire civilization, an entire nation was swallowed up by the sea. You know, that story is carried down throughout the world. Um, can you listen to Ballad of Big Nothing by Elliott Smith? Let me write down the Ballad of Big Nothing. Ballad of Big Nothing. And we're going to talk about concepts like that, by the way. Yeah. And I could go on and on, maybe tomorrow night after my meeting, I'll make a point of going live. It's worth bringing up. I don't know if it's the pressure of being in a men's group home, and there was some just more aggressive. A couple of alpha males, and I'm not an alpha male. I don't try to be an alpha male. Let's put it that way. I'm different, and I stand out. I'm a bit more on time and bright-eyed and have a lot going for me. I'll put it that way, because I hate to judge people. But aggression is aggression. Toxic masculinity is toxic masculinity. Ignorance is ignorance. And people like that always have to come at a red bone or a very nice person or an empath hard. They do. I don't know if it's a testing thing. It's just, I went through that. And the effect was, and somebody got in my channel and deleted all my footage. Years worth, thousands of videos, Sky videos, or my family, or, friends, or, and, as I'm sitting here going down my list of reasons why I sort of stopped going live and really just had to rethink my life, because I was, as somebody alluded to earlier, I was scrolling and everything was a bump, shadows go bump in the night, NIBIRU's coming to get us, end of the world, conspiracies, politics, war, Gaza. It just became too much. Are UFOs real? It just all became a bit nothing. So I stepped back, and it was great from my perspective, because now I'm able to focus a bit more clearly on things like the Younger Dryas. Something happened, and it's starting to come to light. And I think it's interesting that coincidentally, it comes at a time when AI is doubling in, let's say, performance speed every day, in its accuracy and its breadth and width and knowledge of the universe is doubling every day. And how something is making sure that we know that every day. Because fuck your AI. I can still grow some chickens and know better than to eat the chickens and just stash the eggs, because I love me some hard-boiled eggs. That'd be something you could survive off of right there. Hard-boiled eggs. They'll stay good for a couple days. Full of protein. Connor LaHaye, or Leahy, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's German born, but he's Americish. He speaks Americish. he's one of the brightest minds out here. He's a young dude in his 30s. He was a programmer for AI companies, and he knows all about AI. And I love the fact that he's branching out into some deeper topics right now than necessarily the strange, almost witchcraft brew that AI is, that people do not even know. The coders, the programmers, supposedly the people paying for all of this, Elon Musk, none of them really know what's going on inside of the AI. I think there are a few people that aren't people, but beings that are here who have some idea. Um, but he's getting out and talking about some broader topics now, like the fact that young people, the globe over, in terms of sophisticated, um, uh, higher society, developed nations, are having aren't having kids, people in their 30s. And one of the reasons why is because they see the way that the world is going. I didn't look too much deeper into his excuses. It's just that they, you know, I would imagine that they see how expensive things are getting, how uncertain things are getting. Um, you know, Younger people aren't dancing so much, and that is something that you can notice. I've wondered, out of all all the shorts now that I'm bombarded by, and the nightlife and people dancing, you don't really see it on dance floors anymore. We all used to be out there breaking a leg. Ah, ha, 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 boogaloo, boogaloo, do the cabbage patch. Ah, people was y'all white folks was out there with your spray. The 80s, shit, we was out there hurting ourselves, you know, shit. You don't see young people out there throwing it around like that anymore. And it's because everybody's videotaping. And has to keep up with little, what's her name from South Africa? Make me sweat, make me water, make me, and pour water so everybody could throw away the water bottles during the year that her little stupid water bottles, pouring it down the crack of her little. He continued on. What abuse does an animal have to endure to make it not procreate? What's happening to of course, the two younger, the younger generations? What abuse is the human race beginning to endure? Carte blanche that is leading younger people to not want to. The Cabbage Patch, the WAP reboot hustle. Yeah, I learned about the Cabbage Patch Kids thing, and I always thought that there was something spooky. And I'm just a boy, and no boys really dug Cabbage Patch Kids. We thought them some spooky little fucking children of the corn looking ass. I never liked them, and then go to find out that there's some. Write that down, dude. Cabbage Patch. I know that's going to be some spooky shit, isn't it? Isn't it? Cabbage Patch. Yeah, the mud floods in the mid 1700s, when they began building insane asylums all over Europe, Western Europe definitely, Eastern Europe to a degree, because East and West, Europe, boy, talk about something that you could do a 3-day fucking video on without stopping, the families in Europe. Whew. But the mud floods in the cities. I mean, it's interesting how when you think of the Younger Dryas, let's just say a giant global catastrophe that led to a rapid, massive increase and rise in ocean levels, the worldwide, the world over, period. Just done. Lights the fuck out. And then periods throughout time when the sky has been dark for a year, or there's been, 2 or 3 years of mini ice age where fucking freezes. These kind of things are there's going to be so much more information on it, of course, now thanks to technology and radar and mapping and so forth and so on. But it's just going to be really interesting at this seriously pivotal time in history right now, this year. Because I wouldn't title the video "The Year the Sky Comes Alive" if I didn't pretty much know for a certainty and feel it in my guts. And I mean, 4 months ago when I first got back here, I'm like, okay, I'm not on a hill anymore, so I don't have quite at all the view or the vantage point. You don't need it anymore. What used to be a strip on the horizon back 10 years ago now inundates the entire sky. So it is an adventure. See what I'm saying? For somebody like me, who it doesn't take much to keep me happy. You got to take me to expensive dinner or the casino. Give me a fucking lawn chair and just sit me outside at sunset, especially. Don't even give me a good viewpoint over buildings and trees and blocks and neighborhoods. See something better than anything I've ever seen anybody paint. And there's magic in those skies. There are things that appear. I did write this down in my notes. Something that I've always forgotten to talk about. Those clouds. Now, people will be straight up filming. This happens a lot in Asia and shit. I don't know why. Polynesia and Cambodia and places like that. Vietnam. I don't know why. More. Not solely and primarily. But there'll be somebody be looking at some clouds. Maybe there'll be those noctilucent rainbowy clouds, which get bigger and more extreme every fucking day type action. And all of a sudden, the top part of the bowing of the clouds will bubble out and then bubble back in. And bubble out and bubble back in. Mirroring. It's only one kind of thing that fucking does that. Sorry, I don't mean to start using the profanity. And if you don't like it, click on. I'm trying my best. I'm getting better. But it angers me when the sky does things that can only be done with either, like when you were as a kid and you had a straw and you had some of that stuff that you could blow out a little fake wax little balloon. They were kind of messy and stuff. But, and it's not a balloon. It's not air. It's mirrors. Fucking clouds moving like that. Shit swings. It typically kind of goes on a curve. It's mirroring. People all over the world are catching that kind of stuff. The sky above. World of Science put out a video today, and yesterday there was a sky in Illinois where it looked like puff dripping coming down, just big puffs. And it was so bright red. And I did an experiment once. I had a grill in a big kitchen at a Bob Evans here on the east side of Cincinnati. And the grill's about 250, 280 degrees. It wasn't an experiment. One day I knew that I had to make like 15 scrambled eggs. So I put down a bunch of all pre-made egg mix. So it wasn't just a plain egg. It was already made scrambled. It was scrambled. So I plopped down a bunch of it. And on that 250-degree grill, the eggs bubbled up from below into how the sky looks bubbled up from below down to the sky. When it looks like popcorn clouds or cotton candy. Oftentimes the sky looks like a scroll being opened, just big, beefy clouds that aren't 1,000 feet up, because the canopy has dropped so much over the last 10 years. it's almost as if you can reach out and touch it, and the clouds will move. And maybe you might see those plasma events, lightning they still call it, even though lightning never strikes it in the same place twice, right? And it won't even be blue lightning. It'll be purple and then green right next to it and then yellow underneath it. Like celestial beings. Seatown over here, 216. Chicago. My daddy was from Chicago. I spent a lot of my youth on 59th Street in the South Side. Chicago is a trip. Chicago is a big, flat trip. Yeah, I don't know if I can take the heat here this summer. I really don't. It's going to be it's going to be hitting 110, 115. And just like with so many of you, it is going to hit overnight. A lot of you are still in places like me, in Cincinnati. It's been cold last week. But today it got humid. And when it gets humid here, it's time to start suffering. And the whole town does now. I mean, it's always been hot and humid here, but it gets as hot as Florida and Cincinnati now. And that's going to be the story repeated city after city after city after state after state after state after country all over the world coming up this year. I don't know what the fuck people are going to do in places like Nevada, California, New Mexico. I heard it was going to be warm this year. Didn't know it was going to be that bad. Oh no. This is going to be the year. See, that's why I wanted to talk about this tonight. I got a couple more minutes. That's why I wanted to talk about this tonight. Because the propaganda and the media and the programming that we're all undergoing, and however many cars have AC, and however many brand new AC units, wall units, we tend to forget about the wilting, withering electrical grid that we still have, and the culmination of some weather events this year that are coming once the heat really starts to get here, that are going to be like that are going to be unlike anything anybody's ever seen before. The AI that is going to be bleeding the grid in competition with cities. And the drain on the grid, because people are going to be plugging in their AC into their orifice. It's going to be so hot, people are going to be sleeping next to their AC unit. They're going to rip it out the window and just put it as their pillow. It's going to get that hot. And in reference to the sun, and I've got so many more good notes, but I'll get ready to wrap it up because I need to. I just I get up at 6. In reference to the sun, because it's even a far pitch for me, even for my broad-minded, creative, curious self, to think that the sun or what might be around it, or in geosynchronous orbit with it to remain hidden or to hide something. Whatever the case may be, lensing equipment, a mirroring effect, layers of the sky that can be almost manipulated like an LED screen. What if, like for instance, here in Cincinnati, what I've sensed over the last week is simply them calibrating to see how to not let it get so hot. How to try to bring a breeze and Arctic temperatures. How to modulate what they're doing potentially with the sun, which is to melt the ice primarily in Antarctica. Not just Antarctica, not solely. And how that might tie into the Younger Dryas theory, the antediluvian, the potential for the antediluvian, the time before the flood, to have truly been a global Atlantis, where technologies and thought processes uh, were in many ways, if not in every way, far advanced, or at least more earthen, more, glowing more with the blue inner energy of the earth. Um, uh, you know, Lost art and lost architecture. It's interesting, back to World War II in particular. There were churches that were lost all over Europe, all over Europe, Western Europe, and I believe Eastern Europe, again, to a degree, but all over Western Europe, ancient churches that were lost from the first, second, third centuries. A few of them remain in France. And the stained glass in those churches it cannot be replaced to this day. First, second, third century. Same thing with armor. A lot of chainmail armor, as well as some plate armor, was made to a quality that cannot be matched to this day, as well as the fact that a lot of it was made anatomically for things that seem not to be human. Long, stretched, thin legs, eye slits that were way too high for an anatomical human. But truly, indicators all over history, folks, of technologies and ideas and ways of thinking and communicating that far surpass anything that we can achieve to this day, including the quarrying, lifting, and transporting of stones, like the one they recently discovered in China that weighs, was it 60,000 tons or some insane number like that. The most that we can lift today with modern technology, I think, is upwards of 350 tons. That's it. That's it. So when it comes to what's happening to the sky, I just that's what I'll do, over the next day or two, or maybe tomorrow when I get home from. I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I'll really try to categorize why you should never stop looking up. Don't mind, hanging in there with me and other people who are really trying to put the pieces together right now. I didn't even mention the scientists. There's another one. So there are 12 scientists now who've either gone missing mysteriously, just vanished, or have passed under extraneous circumstances. It seems as if um, uh, the immediate, almost what's it called when somebody gets immediate cremation? David Wilcock. What the fuck happened to him? Talk about somebody who had guts to mention the real mechanics of the pineal gland, for instance, the fact that the light of the rainbow exists in this little itty bitty drop of water in the middle of our brains. Water which can magnify water and just look so cool, and a crystal, which ties into Planck theory and the fact that at the revolution of every electron in our brains, twice it hits this Planck moment where it connects with the universe. There's so much more to learn, and a lot of it has to do with the sky. I don't care. Um, I'm gonna pray, and then I'm gonna humble myself and get to sleep because I know I'm tireder than I think. um, Heavenly Composer, I come to you in the name of your Son, Yeshua, Jesus, however it's pronounced, and I come with people from all over the world in their belief systems, and I just pray for peace, unity, for all of us to be cautious of anything in us that would lash out, and try to take, let us remember Bob Marley's songs and the wisdom in his words. Give a little, take a little. I just pray protection, seriously, over everybody under the sound of my voice. And also a blessing, a financial boon, a relational blessing, just a smile on their face, and let them dance in an elevator in front of complete strangers every opportunity they get. Protect us from thoughts. Thank you that I can be a voice for admitting that I certainly could use all the help I can get when it comes to just stilling my mind and rebuking all the little nagging little reminders of yesterday or the warnings of tomorrow. When I'm needing to remember that I'm blessed right here and right now, and there's nothing cooler than being a captain. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, y'all. More to come soon. I'm just getting fired up. I took about a month off. I chilled. It surprised me that I am so in need of humbling that I almost thirst for it, that I almost cry out for it. I love you all. One not uncle, thanks for your support tonight. Supposedly shot himself in front of the cops in his house. You know, it's not what they're telling. Yeah, Wilcock. Yeah, no. The elite are getting sloppy, folks. That's all I can say. You know, and I have no doubt that there's nothing wrong with a little bit of prepping. And a lot of prayer. You got me stuck.